Christine Baranski, everybody, and we're so happy to have you. So, the Diane Lockhart saga, again, she's had 2 shows. She went from the Good Wife to The Good Fight, but I heard you were surprised to find out that the 6th would be the final season.
Probably because I had such a happy day at work. I was literally in bed between John Slattery and Gary Cole in a kind of fantasy sequence, and I'm thinking, who has my life?
Yeah.
At any age, much less my age. And it was such a happy work day, and so to be told, but I don't think you're ever ready to hear that something that you've done for 13 years with a family of people with whom some of them I had known for 13 years, my costume designer, my makeup artist, some of the cameramen. I mean, 13 years, that's your family. You go from, like, their kids are little and then they're applying for college, and you live your whole life with these people. And so no, I still don't think I've processed it, because I just went right into Gilded Age. I think probably after the first of the year, when we would have gone back, it's going to be like, whoa, because, people really get very close, and it's not the same as with your family. The Teamster's not going to say, well, what about the weekend you didn't call?
Yeah.
Or the cameraman is not going to say, I can hear from your tone of voice you're upset.
Yeah.
Can we, people in a professional situation, there's a protocol and a clarity to it, and it's a wonderful family. I will miss everybody. I will miss my fellow actors, my crew, my producers. It was a great show. It was a great run, and it was 6 years on The Good Fight. And it was a show about what was happening in this Trump era. I was listening to your monologue. You do a great Donald Trump, by the way.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
And
we're very similar. I think that helps.
But I mean, all that you get to vent in your
Yes.
job. And I used to vent as Diane because she was living through the Trump era as a liberal feminist. So I'll also miss not being Diane and taking my anxieties and anger to work. I mean,
Yeah.
what would you do if you didn't have this show? I
You
mean,
just
your
mutter
poor
to yourself
wife
on the street. Yeah.
Or you take it, to your kids.
No, it's
and
the hardest thing about having a month off is, people
I could
are like,
tell you were so pent up.
I was so happy, yeah. Because they don't let me do a closer look at home, because I have 3 kids and 2 of them are Trump supporters, yeah. the 6-year-old and the baby, yeah.
And the baby.
The baby, yeah. It's a tax
just
thing. With her,
typical-
it's just about taxes.
Typical Republican
Yeah,
baby.
yeah.
Whining all the time.
They are very whiny. But
Yeah.
the other thing, and I think it's really important that you stress, and I certainly felt it here during the pandemic when we were away, like that, the comfort of having a crew that takes care of you behind the scenes is just a wonderful.
Incredible. All those years, because we were shooting the pilot on election night. So The Good Fight took us all through the Trump years, and would that they had been over, but it seems the post-Trump years are equally.
Yeah.
And so it was a place to go. So there was Trump and there's COVID, and we were still a functioning group of people. It was, even when it was hard, we all got through it. I don't remember people complaining. And, so when they announced the end, it wasn't like, oh, well, of course, thank God, we're tired and we're just keep repeating the same stories. This show just kept staying fresh.
It was very, I mean, to write, episodic drama that's as topical as you guys were.
Well, there was always bad news. It's like
Yeah,
your
right,
show. There's
yeah.
always bad news, so you always have raw material. But I will miss it, and I will also say we had just a revolving door on great actors who would come in and do guest appearances, because we'd have all the New York actors.
You had all the New York actors, and this season, John Slattery showed up in the clip, Andre Braugher. I mean, it really
Barry
is.
Preston, Alan Cumming comes back, and no pun intended, he Cummings back.
Yeah, he Cummings back,
And,
yeah.
I will miss every aspect of it. But, I think narratively speaking, it was the time. You don't want to keep a show on when you start repeating jokes or repeating dramatic things. Diane's anger and her exasperation took her to such a point that she was literally using hallucinogens or whatever and levitating. I mean, where do you go after you levitate?
Yeah, it's hard.
To cope with anxiety.
Yeah, it's very hard to bounce back from that. The good news is now you have an open slot in your schedule. You have committed to doing my Broadway musical, Cicada Cicada.
Yes,
and we're
which needs a lot of work.
What? You don't You don't love the script so far?
It's hard to, you talk about character work. Well, playing an insect,
Yeah.
and then it's just, and a musical of an insect. It's,
Yeah.
but I think it's going to go out of town for a very long time.
That is so sweet of you to say. Well, we are just so happy every time you're here. And congratulations on an incredible run with an incredible character. Christine Baranski, everybody.